there again, friends, and welcome to another splendid episode. So as I've mentioned before, I'm a pretty big David Lynch fan. Like, I enjoy all of his works, and he definitely has his own unique and distinctive style that I truly appreciate. Now, usually when people hear the name David Lynch, they tend to think of the dark and twisted and surreal realm that lives just beneath the surface of a bright and pleasant day in a friendly suburban neighborhood. In films like Wild at Heart, Blue Velvet, and Eraserhead, we see humanity's dark and sinister alter ego, along with the skin-crawling aesthetics that Lynch is so renowned for. Now, to many of us, we would never expect the Great One to actually make a movie that was not only completely devoid of all those classic tropes you would expect to see in a Lynch film, but also still managed to deliver a very inspiring, intriguing, and beautifully touching movie that'll leave the viewer with a tear in their eye. Well, guess what? David Lynch did just that, and very well, I might add, with the 1999 film The Straight Story, which just so happens to be a Disney movie, by the way. Yeah, that's right, David Lynch directed a Disney movie. How's that for weird?
Well, the worst part of being old is remembering when you was young.
Based on true events, The Straight Story is a warm-hearted tale about a retired farmer who travels hundreds of miles and across state lines on his riding lawnmower so he can reconnect with his long-estranged brother. It stars Richard Farnsworth, which would be his final performance, as well as Harry Dean Stanton and the coal miner's daughter herself, Sissy Spacek. Now, before we begin, make sure you all hit the like and subscribe button, and let's get started, shall we? So the film begins with retired farmer Alvin Straight just trying to enjoy a nice peaceful nap on the kitchen floor.
What's the number for 911?
Put the phone down, Dorothy.
But people just won't give him 5 minutes of peace and quiet.
Are you okay, Dad?
I just need a little help getting up, honey.
And then Alvin's daughter drags him to the doctor's office. And that's when he gets the unfortunate news that he's an old fart and he probably won't be around too much longer.
If you don't make some changes quickly, there will be some serious consequences.
Back at home, Alvin and his daughter enjoy a nice thunderstorm.
I love a lightning storm.
Me too, Dad.
Before Alvin gets some more bad news.
Uncle Al, I had a stroke.
Hearing of his brother's failing health, Alvin decides to take a trip to go see him. But there's only one little problem with that. He ain't got no car, no driver's license, and no way of getting there. Except one. Now, of course, his daughter's against the idea, but she eventually decides to help him out by getting him some food for his trip.
It's for my dad, for his trip. My dad, he's going to Wisconsin.
Alvin then goes out shopping, where he haggles with the shopkeep over a grabber, and the shopkeep's having a really hard time letting go of it.
Oh, geez, Alvin. That's a darn good grabber, Alvin. They're hard to come by, Alvin. She's Alvin, $10.
Alvin then hitches a cart up to his lawnmower before saying goodbye to his daughter. He then hits the open road, much to the curiosity of the town.
What are you setting out to do here?
And from there, it's nothing but the endless beauty of corn and corn. But then some trouble with the mower puts a snag in Alvin's plans. And poor Alvin ends up back at square one.
Poor Alvin.
He then says goodbye to the old mower. But luckily, the bad guy from Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, gets him a sweet deal on a new one.
What year?
66.
And so Alvin's back on the road and making progress. As he makes camp for the night, Alvin makes friends with a fellow traveler, where he quickly offers her his wiener.
Wieners. Want to try one?
And then we get a depressing-ass backstory to Sissy Spacek's character and how the state came and took her kids away.
One night, somebody else was watching the kids and there was a fire. Her second boy got burned real bad. On account of the way Rose is, the state figured she wasn't competent to take care of them kids, and they took them all away from her.
Back on the road, Alvin gets caught up with some seedy-looking bikers. But then they soon welcome him into the fold. And then back on the road, tragedy strikes. And some poor lady completely loses her shit.
Tried everything a person could do, and still every week I plow into at least one deer. And I love deer.
But hey, at least Alvin gets a free meal out of it. Along with a side of guilt. Alvin then loses control of his mower as he races downhill, shitting his pants before finally coming to a stop. And with some help from the locals, Alvin gets some work done to the mower while he makes some new friends.
A preacher helped me put some distance between me and the bottle. The reason I was drinking, I was seeing all them things here that I'd seen over there.
And they share some really depressing-ass war stories.
And dropped an incendiary on the mess tent. All my buddies.
And with his mower back in order, Alvin rides out at the crack of dawn. And eventually he arrives at the Great Mississippi. He then decides to set up camp at a cemetery where he befriends the local priest, and then he talks about his brother for a bit.
See that fella that came in with a stroke some weeks ago?
That's right. Do you know him?
Caught my attention because he lives in my parish.
Well, he's a Baptist.
Well, I believe he told me that.
And after grabbing a quick beer at the local bar,
how's it taste?
It's good.
Alvin finally arrives at his brother's house. Where he and Harry Dean Stanton reunite. And after realizing that Alvin came all that way on a rotting lawnmower, Harry Dean Stanton chokes back a tear as the two estranged brothers make their peace. And that was The Straight Story, the most non-Lynchian David Lynch film that David Lynch ever filmed. And according to the man himself, The Straight Story was actually the most experimental film he's ever made, which, for David Lynch, actually kind of makes sense. And upon release, the film was met with high praise, both from critics and audiences alike, and Richard Farnsworth would be nominated for an Academy Award. So needless to say, The Straight Story is indeed a real gem. And if you've never had the pleasure, I highly encourage you to go out and check it out for yourself. So until next time, folks, this is me to you, wishing you all the best, and reminding you to always keep it real. Bye-bye now.